Hello, this is High Templar. Welcome back to my Total War Warhammer mechanics videos, and today we'll be doing some comprehensive testing of Mammoths. I do wanted to test them because stats don't always tell you entire story, like with the story about Ragnarok and the Giant, whereas Giant high armor-piercing damage and high health would seem that he will win against Ragnarok, who has low damage and lower health. It's not low, but lower. It main weapon seems to be an armor, which is quite amazing. But most of the damage done by Giant is armor piercing. So it seems that Giant is anti-Ragnarok monster, and it's actually the other way around. So let's test Mammoths and see how they fare, and start with Ragnarok himself. And as you can see from the very beginning, it is amazing because Feral Mammoth for the few first seconds didn't take a one hit, whereas Ragnarok Spider is taking quite some. So the damage is being dealt because of the massive charge bonus that this monster have. If we follow it a little longer, it would seem that the Mammoth is now losing health, but Ragnarok still is lower. So for the first few seconds of the fight, it seems that it's on the Mammoth side, but then it equates as soon as the charge bonus is gone, and now the Feral Mammoth is losing pretty badly. So as you can see, about more than half of the health of Ragnarok is actually left. But if you play it only at the beginning and then you are able to pull, which you might not be able to do, because the problem here is they both have pretty much the same speed, 57. But if you are able to get a unit that will peel down the Ragnarok and be able to cycle charge, well, that's another story, and you can get that unit because Feral Mammoth is cheaper. Now let's test the same story with the slightly stronger War Mammoth. And at the beginning, the same story. Significant damage on Ragnarok, but as the battle progresses, it's more and more obvious that the Ragnarok is winning that one as well. Well, the most problematic for this one is the armor for the War Mammoth, which is not doing that great, and if we look at the final result, Ragnarok pretty much won with the same margin of error than before. Now, that was something we knew will happen. How about the Giant? Let's test the guy against Giant. Giant additionally causes terror, but Feral Mammoth is immune to that because he also do the same. Similar health. Anti-infantry of Feral Mammoth will not help him, but the massive charge bonus for the Feral Mammoth is again starting to winning him this fight. However, Giant has significant morale. So they actually have very similar price, and they seem to be going toe to toe, even though Mammoth is quite obviously more anti-infantry weapon. But at the end, the Feral Mammoth will lose due to the morale. But only slightly so. So yeah. Let's have another test. Sorry. Here we have some basic unit, similar pricing, that Feral Mammoth might be facing. And again, this is anti-large units against Feral Mammoth, so this is not very fair fight. But I just wanted to see how much of a overkill that would be. But see that? That is, by the few first seconds of a fight, lots of the Blood Knights are actually dying. And the Feral Mammoth are losing health, losing health, but so does the Blood Knights. So yeah, as you can see, he's running away, but the damage is being dealt. Pretty amazing job, if you ask me, for this, because it is a burst damage, and burst damage is something that we can use in a battle if you know what to do. Now, those guys do have anti-large with the armor piercing, but otherwise they are non-armor piercing, and the War Mammoths has better stats. So how about this matchup? And then we go to some more interesting ones, and this is against infantry more than other things. So pretty much the same, because anti-large is mostly armor piercing, so there is very little difference in those tests. But the Blood Knights got a lot less health. I mean, a lot less. But the amount of time it took was very, very similar. So, not that much of a difference actually. Now, let's test Feral Mammoths against Iron Breakers. Same map over and over again, quite obviously. We are setting for this. Now those guys, I don't remember, this is with auto fire, I believe this is with auto fire. Yes. They did have auto fire, they did throw those into Feral Mammoths, and Feral Mammoth doesn't have greatest armor, so he did suffer some damage. But now you can see that he's absolutely wrecking those Iron Breakers, which is one of the most potent infantry units in a game. Iron Breakers look amazing in 4K. More than the Mammoth. But let's just fast forward, because this is Iron Breaker, so this will take a bit. And as you can see, I'm not even cycle charging this battle. And when I'm not cycle charging this battle, Iron Breakers are doing very nice job of the Feral Mammoth. They do not have armor piercing, so 30 armor is not enough, and they are taking care of him pretty well. And there is still 80 Iron Breakers in a unit. So, you obviously should cycle charge those guys. Now, let's see a War Mammoth against our Iron Breakers with auto fire. And this time I believe we will do some charging, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if that's the case. Obviously, if you do cycle charge, you will crush that unit like crazy. But not every time you have an option of cycle charging, actually. Setting it up. It is auto fire, so there is no defense versus there is no expert defense here. So he did charge into that group and doing quite some damage. Yeah, this is without cycle charging apparently. So we will do some cycle charging later. So as you can see, it is a very long fight, And at the very beginning, because those guys were on auto fire, they didn't do very well. But right now, it seems like it will be going into the Iron Breakers because of their amazing morale and because they are starting to win this battle. Still 80 of them. So, but there is certainly more damage done on the Pharaoh Mammoth than on the War Mammoth because of 70 armor. That's pretty hard to... It's a very even fight, as you can see. Very even fight. All this damage from the Pharaoh Mammoth and all this additional javelins and what's not, and seems it's still not enough because he will just run away. And Iron Breakers are not easily breakable, let's just put it like that. And that's the end. That was a very close fight. Very close fight. But mind you, Iron Breakers are a lot cheaper. Yeah, I would call that close. Right, so the same thing without autofire. And let us see that. This time those guys will have charge bonus. So it will be normal attacks from the War Mammoth without charge bonus, which still should be significant with 500, but as you can see, it's less. But it doesn't seem to be much of a difference afterwards, which is unfortunate. I was hoping the defense versus the expert defense would do more, but it doesn't seem to be the case, and this guy in this fight is again a very long one. We might as well watch it from the close up. And sometimes results of such battles are very random generated. I was actually testing before if the auto fire does negate charge defense, and that was... the results were inconclusive. So it seems that it might be the case as well here. It seems that there is more dwarves than in previous one when they are bringing down this mammoth, but the difference is negligible. On the other hand, charge bonus only works for a certain amount of time before it dissipates, and this is a very long battle. He even killed the leader here, but again, close defeat. I should not do that. Now, so that was a bit boring here. How about Shaggot? Shaggot, now we are the most powerful creature there is. We know that Shaggot is less, not as powerful against monsters as a Ragnarok, and quite expensive, and we have Soul Crusher on the other hand. So most of these fights were very short, whenever fight against Iron Breakers was very long. As you can see, for the most part they were going toe to toe. Again, a massive charge bonus for the Soul Crusher was giving him advantage at the start, but then it's not going very well. Shaggot has still 68 and he still wins. Right. Now, how about Nemesis of all leaders? Let's put it against something very powerful and quite expensive. These are chosen with halberds. Now those guys are anti-large, Mammoth is anti-infantry, Those guys are armor piercing. Those guys are armor piercing as well. So, but the Mammoth is more expensive. So it seems to be pointing out that this should go to the Mammoth. And we will charge in, and as you can see, absolutely, when those guys ran into the Mammoth, it was absolutely crushing for the Chosen in the first few seconds, doing so much burst damage. It taken a third of their life, whereas giving barely any damage on the Mammoth. Sorry about that. And we can cycle charge, because we've seen how this charge is powerful. And we can see that the Mammoth is just, again, riding through them. Absolutely massive defeat. Mammoth has well over half of his health. That was Feral Mammoth. Now let's see if the same will go if the halberds will not run. It's a simple difference. I've seen many people in the multiplayer run their halberds, run their spears into large units. So let's see how running and not running will affect. For the purpose of this let's play, I will attack them only from front. If you get them from the back, that would be obviously not work. But normally, charge defense works against large. And as you can see right now, it's not that significant damage, and the Mammoth is taking damage as well. We will cycle charge, but we will attack from the front. And again, it's just not working. So we might just as well stay in, and I believe we will do that here. And the outcome of this battle is quite different from what you've seen just before. That is how much of a difference it makes to run and not run, make basically an attack order on the Feral Mammoth. Because if you do make an attack order, they will run after him unless you put a guard mode on. If you put a Mammoth against Chosen with great weapons, those guys obviously do not have bones versus they do not have bones versus large, they do not have charge defense, but they are still very good infantry unit. We will charge them into each other, and as you can see, they are doing more damage when they are running than their halberds counterparts, but they are losing. Halberds do have weaker stats compared to the great weapons. But yes, still, if you cycle charge it properly, get into the middle of the unit, you will be able to win that battle pretty decisively with 1/3 of your health, half of what you would get against the halberds. So, what we learned from this testing? Firstly, that the Feral Mammoth is powerful enough to take out most of the infantry if you're using it correctly, except for obviously some anti-large spears. Not only armor piercing, non-armor piercing will also work because those guys only have 30. Also, War Mammoth would be much better against any type of non-armor piercing missiles, because this is a large target indeed. So I would bring Feral Mammoth in only in very specific situations, like against Chaos, because those guys do not have spears, those guys do not have really non-armor piercing missiles. Yes, they do, but they are not as powerful. I wouldn't do that against Norska. Norska is another story entirely. What else? I would bring Mammoth against a large target if I have nothing else on them. If I have a unit that will be able to pin that target. So charging from a side and then retreating is very good. It's very good tactics if you can get away with it, because as you've seen, those guys are doing massive amount of damage on a charge no matter what they are charging. And I guess that's it. I hope you didn't find the test against Iron Breakers that boring. I just wanted to see how they will deal with it. And this is it. I hope you like it. If you did, press like, comment if you will, and see my other videos. In Total War Warhammer, I'm doing mod reviews, mechanics videos obviously, DLC analysis, speculation videos, but also let's plays in Total War series and other games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.